Good morning. It's day 4 of week 3 on Urban Agoge. So, I'm just keeping pumping out the videos. It's about 9:30 on Thursday the 9th of May, I think. That's all good. It's a bit rainy, and unfortunately it's going to be a bit rainy for the next few days. But if it's a bit chilly, that sort of works out for the run. I prefer to go for a run when it's a bit cold. And we've got another one tomorrow. It's a bit more endurance-ified. And it has the gym element. So many tricep dips and push-ups and stuff. So yeah. And one of the things about the Army fitness course is, it's pretty much used by the Army. And what they're trying to do is instill in you to put as much effort as possible into what you do for them. They're very into the giving 110% type thing. So all these exercises every single day is a slightly different push to push you beyond what you think you are capable of. And I'm telling you, when I looked at the instructions for yesterday, where it was run really fast for 30 seconds and then walk for 3 minutes, over 20 minutes, I was daunted, shall we say. Just a little bit. But, you think that eventually the results are going to be absolutely worth it. The only thing I would add is that I would quite like to do some work with weights, with dumbbells, to increase my upper body strength, which would burn calories and, give me that strength to do chin-ups and all that sort of thing. So, but I'm trying to think of a way, and I think I have something, where anybody can build some, not tremendously heavy, 2.5, 3 kilo weights, or a weight even. You only need to make one, really. You can exercise your arms independently of each other, as long as you do the same exercise on each arm. So yeah, I'm in the woods and kind of in the market, as they say, to find a piece of stout wood, if I can. Ideally without taking it from a tree, but I might end up having to. Picking a way to go. It's slightly rainy, so I want as much tree cover as possible. So yeah, if I can find a good piece of dead wood that's comfortable to grip, I think we can put something together. Because I do have dumbbells and I will be using them, but I was thinking, I don't want people to have to spend money in order to do this course, like any money. If you've got the spare income and you think it's worth it, then definitely go for it. But I wouldn't do it just yet. I mean, I think if you find that you're working out or you're doing some exercise every single day, and some of those days you're doing weights, and you have the disposable income to do it, then go for it. If you think you might not, or you decide that it's not something that's that important, given that you can get, some results through press-ups, and that's why, oh dear, does not want me to get through. That's why the Army course doesn't specify weight or gym work, because if you're going into the army as a recruit rather than an officer, they're aware that some of those recruits aren't going to have the kind of money that makes you go to a gym. So their runs aren't now run 10k because they don't want you to have to do so much running that you'll hurt yourself if all you have is boots or cheap sneakers. You know, if you really didn't have the money, the army would source you a pair of sneakers. They might be second hand, but if you were going into the army, they certainly wouldn't want your ability to spend money to be a limiting factor, because they're well aware that most of their recruits are very much working class, and very much they're getting people, you know, to sign up for the army before they've had any other kind of job. So you're looking at an 18-year-old kid who might not have great prospects, you know, at that time. And that's what armies all around the world do. Certainly America's the same. It's why there's no stipulation that you've got to get yourself to a military barracks. If I'm sorry, I'm having to be an enemy of the woodland at this point, just to go for a bit of a bushwalk. But the problem with this many beech tree saplings is essentially none of them will get to grow. So, I mean, the forest will sort that out, but even though I'm accidentally taking out a couple of these, I'm really not doing a lot of harm as a species level harm. There are thousands of tiny saplings here. So yeah, so most modern armies at the recruit level are powerfully aware that they're generally getting kids from, you know, poor backgrounds. So they design their fitness courses around that, and I'm trying to do the same. So yeah, so I'm trying to figure out a way of making some weights that are safe to use, where all I have to find is a stick. So I'll keep you posted. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything that I could rely on. Probably need to take a piece of green wood. So yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing is I'm trying to research like a thumbnail, you know, like a 5 minutes worth guide to nutrition, because I don't think it's that difficult. I'm gonna have to go down again. Because everybody wants to make it more complicated so they can publish a book, a bit like all the philosophical stuff, you know. So we know as much as we need to, really, in order to manipulate it, about brain chemistry. You know, people find it very hard to be mean to you if you're being nice to them, because it's a tribal thing. I mean, some people can manage it, but generally the only people that can manage to sidestep that sort of oxytocin tribal thing are themselves wealthy and see you as an inferior. To which all you've got to do is smile and be gracious. You don't have to be subservient, because the aim of this whole thing is essentially, you know, to put you in a position where you don't have to be subservient to anyone. That's the thing about heroes. You know, you can serve society, but you don't necessarily have to put up with the bullshit of an individual. And I know a lot of you don't, but this is, you know, I'm trying to make this as for everybody. And I see people that have stepped back and stepped back and stepped back from confrontation so much that it becomes a default. And I think one of the things we'll try and do is maybe do some stuff on, elegantly removing yourself from confrontation whilst not being subservient. Let's try that. Even if it's only teaching people to say, I respect your point of view because it's the one you have, but that doesn't mean I have to change mine. And it's crippling. If all your life you've done as you're told, and you back down and you become terrified of confrontation or terrified of the word no, it's not gonna help you when you do need to say no. And I don't mean that's weakness, it's literally how we're trained. We're trained not to be agreeable. And, that's the whole thing. You're praised in school for getting good grades and doing as you're told and not getting into trouble. But we're not taught how to maintain ourselves in the face of that. We're not taught how to question things. We're not taught how to be different. Just stand out and go, no, I don't think this helps people out. Certainly doesn't help me out. And it probably explains why I don't have a good job, as far as earning money goes. Technically, no, in reality, I see this as my job. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to combine all the useful things humanity has got together. As far as making your way through life goes, as far as nutrition, as far as, brain, an understanding of how your brain works and how it wants to work, and how that's not very useful to us at the moment. How your brain is wired. Oh, hold on a sec. This is impossible to do with one hand. Yeah, how your brain is wired has been taken advantage of for a very, very long time. Humanity has, not learned to act differently to the 50,000 years ago model of humanity. And there is a whole bunch of people that know how to take advantage of it in the world. And we praise those people. We make a fuss of them. Those people that know you don't have to manipulate every single person. You just have to manipulate enough of them. For example, things like the unfathomable success of the iPhone as a piece of technology, as compared to other pieces of, other mobile phones, for example. You can't upgrade it. All the applications cost money. You can't swap out the battery. They're designed to basically go slow and fail. Yet it's the most popular model of mobile phone. Why? Because the iPhone is seen as not just as a phone, but as a kind of like social statement. It's a status symbol. If you've got an iPhone, that's the most expensive kind of phone. You must be important because you've spent money on it. And it will be interesting. Oh, this hat is got to go. And it would be interesting to see an honest response. If, say, Tim Cook was buying a phone and he wasn't the CEO of Apple, what phone would he buy? What phone would he recommend that somebody else buys? See, that's can you upgrade it? No. Can you have a spare battery for it in case of emergency? No. Can you fix it? No. Well, then I don't want it, would probably be a more honest answer. It's, and people just go, oh, it just works. Well, no, it's got a reputation of just working. You know, like a lot of products these days are not designed to be fixed. You know, I mean, fair enough, certain stuff you can't fix, but, you know, you should be able to get a spare battery for a piece of electronics. You know, I mean, yes, you can get a battery bank, but it's not as immediate as popping open the back cover and putting a battery in. That's why I've got the phone I've got, you know, because you can do that. So yeah, you know, we're programmed. We want to be part of a tribe. The people that market to us know that. They've known it for about 100 years now, that you can attach an emotional feeling to a product that's not necessarily true. And if you want to read or if you want to watch a documentary that explains that like nothing else, it would be Adam Curtis's The Trap. You know, the idea that the sense of freedom is a commodity. It's called The Trap, What Happened to Our Dreams of Freedom by Adam Curtis. And I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. I'll find it and I'll put it in the links below. Well worth a watch. It's a good use of an hour or two of your time. But it will literally explain, you know, how we've come to this, pretty much. And it's all down to psychological manipulation. And those people use those tools all the time on us to get us to buy stuff. Now, yes, we all buy stuff. There's a difference between, you know, essentially buying something because it's been marketed effectively to us, and buying something that is a tool for us to do our lives a bit better. But it's the how do I say this? The gulf between tool and toy is it can be vast. You know, the difference between buying, say, an action figure from a movie that you liked, I mean, and it's, you know, if that's how you want to spend your money, then so be it, and buying like a drill or a power tool of some kind. You know, that's a big gulf. Choosing between one camera and another one, because one has a greater market share, which means that the manufacturer can do what they like. So like a camera, you know, and they can market it as easy to use, is a completely another thing. You know, I'm currently saving up for another camera to replace this one that's got a bit of image stabilization on it and can shoot in actual 4K and has a microphone input, so I have to do less editing, and maybe a gimbal to go with that. So that's probably an investment of about 200 quid all told for the gimbal and the new camera, and maybe a couple of batteries and maybe a remote for the camera so I can operate it, and hopefully some kind of app that will connect the camera to a tablet, so I've got more control. But it has to be said, at that point, you know, if I add in a good microphone, like a really good lavalier microphone instead of the one I'm using, that essentially gives me a newscaster's rig. You know, I can shoot me, or I can shoot what's going on in Steadicam, you know, in 4K, with good low light filming, and the camera's small enough for me to use it for other applications. So, as a filmmaker, there just aren't that many things that you can't buy a complete camera, usually, an audio rig, for £200. Yet, that's what it costs. You know, you can't buy a good DSLR, really, for under £200, and then you need to get lenses and an audio setup and stuff like that, and microphones, and have it weigh virtually nothing. So that's, for me, that's a tool. The camera that I'm looking at isn't a major brand, but it does have, you know, the wonderful thing about non-major brands, if they're competing with major brands, A, it's cheaper, and B, the feature set is usually quite good. So, yeah. And I have to say a big thank you to not only my Patreons on this one, but also Misanthropic Gods and Calum, who literally sent money in. So I'm about a quarter of, or a fifth of my way towards that whole setup. And you know, it's dead easy to help if you wanted to help. It's there's a PayPal me link, so you can just put a one-off payment in if you want to. But I'm determined to buy it anyway, so I will be buying it. I'll be getting that rig, maybe not all of it at once, you know, maybe just the camera this month and the gimbal next month, but I can see that as being a worthwhile addition. Maybe a better microphone the following month, you know. So over the next 3 months this will evolve, like it did from the first episode, which was just photos, like it did from episode 4, where I went to this action camera and the microphone and the voice recorder. It'll evolve, and that's only going to mean, you know, I get better at this job, and I'm seeing it as a job. It's not generating a giant income, but in, you know, just under 3 weeks, it's generated $25 towards doing other stuff. I've got 13 subscribers who are watching. I've got, you know, 200 plus views, which I'm amazed at. 1.3 thousand minutes of watch, you know, 1,300 minutes of watch time when I last checked. It's amazing, you know. It's so humbling. So yeah, I literally want to change your life, but without the usual now spend $500 to attend a conference or a you know, a big event, or now subscribe. If anybody needs this to be free, it's going to be free. It's always going to be free. I'm not even sure it's worth putting advertising on it, even if I did get up to 1,000 subscribers, which could happen easily. You know, anybody that's watching this all the way through to the end helps. Anybody that clicks on like helps. You know, anybody that subscribes helps. That all helps the channel get to as many people as possible, and that's my real goal. I've got a job. I'm doing okay. I could do better, you know, but I've figured out some strategies to do that, and we'll be covering that in this. If there's a way of earning money in your spare time online that's not too arduous, cool. I'll report on it. I'll try it. If you've got any ideas about how to make life better and more functional, let me know. That's what comments are for. But yeah. But in 2.5 weeks, we've covered a hell of a lot of ground. Just speaking plainly, not trying to sell a book. You know, that's why I made my version of the, you know, I literally retranscribed it and changed the fonts and spaced it out a bit better, so you've got a week to a page of the Army Fitness Diary. Reformatted it, and it's up there. It's up on, well, it's in the link below. It's on the archive.org. They're another institution that if you feel like flinging a few dollars their way, that's a good thing. They're trying to archive all of the internet, and it's a big job. Oh, yes, fell over. I was wondering when that was going to come. So yeah. So we've covered brain chemistry. We've covered forming habits and how short a time it is. I mean, I'm out late today, but I went to bed fairly late last night, for me, about 1 a.m, and I'd been up since 7, so I was tired. So although I was awake at about 7:30, I needed to just sit down and have a cup of coffee, just chill out the first part of my day. But I'm still out by 9 o'clock. You know, an unheard of level of productivity, and that's just by understanding that if you get up early and you make it a common practice, your life will change. That's the only thing you need to do. Eat less crap. If anybody knows of an extremely simple nutrition guide, I've been searching, and I'll come back to you as soon as I've got one. But you know, something that I can talk about in less than 5 minutes. You know, I need to find out a general, not bodybuilding, not Olympic athlete, but a general rule of thumb level of nutrition. And so far, and it's making a difference, eat less red meat. Eat less meat in general. If you live in the Western world, you probably eat too much meat because it's cheap source of protein, but it ain't good for you. It's like saying Coca-Cola, other sodas are available, or sugary drinks of any kind is bad for you. And I worked it out the other day that if you bought a smoothie maker and you were planning to have a smoothie with good stuff in it, get some chia seeds, get some flax seeds, get some spinach, even some cucumber. Cucumber's pretty good for you. Put it in a blender with a banana, with 2/3 of a banana, say. Maybe some exotic fruit if you've got it. And just blend it. Drink it. It's a meal. Don't strain it. Drink it with the bits, because the bits are the fibre. A lot of the commercial smoothies strain them, so you end up having to put in an incredible amount more fruit and water than you need to. Basically, if it doesn't pour, then don't do it. But you can also do things like reduce your fat intake. Zero fat yogurt is available. You can buy it by the kilo for nothing. I bought a kilo of yogurt the other day for £1, and it's zero fat. I mean, if you want a quick energy pick-me-up and its flavours that you like, a whole banana, a tablespoon of peanut butter, and about 150 ml of yogurt. Put that in the blender, zap. That's a meal. It's a meal. It's a meal that took you a minute to prepare, and it's probably a lot better for you than anything else you were going to eat, especially if you're doing strenuous exercise. So there are things about nutrition that we know, but they're things that we're being told all the time, and it's hard to hear. Eat less sugar, eat more fruit, eat more veg. Have a few vegetarian meals from time to time. Get your body used to fibre and stuff like that. So I'm going to keep evolving and learning stuff and making sure that it's available for you in as succinct a way as possible. Because I think there's way too much waffle. And in almost every subject I've found, wait for the train to go by, but with almost all of these subjects, there is a condensed version. You don't have to read hundreds of self-improvement books. I'm seriously tempted to start putting everything that I've learned so far, including the Army Fitness Regimen, into a Word document and making it available, keeping it running. Some sort of like book of heroism, with some philosophy, with some yoga, with nutrition advice, with the exercise routine. It's nobody wants to put it in a book with all the information that you can use. And I think these days, with the reach of the internet, that's the rule. If it does, it's like punk rock. It didn't exist. People had to make it. And they weren't equipped to make it. And there's a lot of difference between the first show of the Sex Pistols and the last show of the Clash, say. But the last show of the Clash, they can play their instruments, they can get their point across. First show of the Sex Pistols, it's probably pretty garbled and horrible. They were employed specifically because they couldn't play instruments. You know, they wanted a raucous sound. And yeah, I'm hoping to cover music and de-bullshit that, and de-bullshit the playing of instruments. You know, loads of people think playing a musical instrument is a long journey. It ain't. You can make a nice sound. You know, you can entertain yourself and your friends with very little in the way of musical knowledge. I want to bring back storytelling as an art. You know, maybe we can steal some knowledge from the people that do public speaking and politicians, because that's what they do. They're telling a narrative that they think we want to hear. Let's bring back storytelling, but let's not hide the reason we're telling a particular story. You know, storytelling for children should include a Q&A. Wouldn't that be good? Excuse me, mister, I like the story, but, you know, what was the point of it? And, you know, storytellers are teachers. Well, the point of it was, you know, be nice to your parents and be responsible to the tribe. Think about what you're doing. Don't be overly selfish. You know? That would be good. So yeah, we're going to be covering a lot of ground, and there's no end in sight, unfortunately. I'll be trying to produce a video pretty much every day, or 2 videos, or even 3 every day, for as long as I can. You know, there may be some days where I have to have a day off, or I'm just not available. But at the moment, my best resource is the giant amount of time that I have. So yeah, I think I'll stop it there. I was wondering what I was going to talk about when I stepped out this morning, but clearly it's happening. So I need to, I think I need to do just like a studio type recap video where, you know, we just cover everything at the end of a week or on a particular day of the week, maybe a Friday when I've got way more time, and just do a studio video where it's just like, right, okay, this is it. This is what I've learned, in as easy to produce a format as possible. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's doable with the technology we've got today. I can probably produce a reasonably good television quality recap video of about 15 minutes. So, goody, more videos. But yeah, it's one of those things. I've got to up the game, and the technology is always improving. It's just a case of finding those points at which there's a definite improvement, and then two falling over. And when there's a real benefit, we'll upgrade. You know, currently I'm at the level of technology that it would have taken all the resources of a TV crew in the 1970s or 80s. So we're only 40 years behind the professionals at this point. I know other people are doing a much better job. There are lots of vidcasts out there that are doing a better job than me of the actual production level. But generally speaking, they've got people to help them all the time. Wouldn't that be good? Oh, that would be awesome if something that I did turned into such a full-time job. And I'm spending, on average, on an average day, I'm spending more time in video production than I am doing my paying job. You know, I'm spending at least 5 hours at my main job, and I'm spending around 5 hours doing this. And it's it's cool. So yes, maybe, you know, if I can improve the quality of it, maybe we get some real stuff done. Maybe we can attract some guests, or at least somebody that's prepared to come in over Skype and be part of the experience. Yeah. Oh, one last thing. I know that I said I'd try and pick up litter every single day. Turns out that's not actually all that logistically possible purely because of the amount of bin space that I have. So it'll be when I've got an empty bin and when there's space in it, that day I'll pick up litter, and unfortunately when I don't, I won't be. Purely because it's got to go somewhere. It's got to go to be recycled, it's got to go to do other stuff. So unfortunately it's not all that doable every day, but whenever I can I will, and a little bit on camera. That's why there's running footage, and I'm doing footage of all the exercise I'm doing. You know, it's literally video or it didn't happen. So yeah, I'm actually gonna wrap it up there now, but it's been fun. On my rest day, got to a point where I'm breathing hard, sweating a little bit. I've exerted myself, so that's one achievement. I've got the video in the can, that's another. It's great. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and do take care.